Thus, without further ado, Stacey Carey, co-founder of Magnifica, Magnifica.com. Stacey, pleasure to be speaking with you on already Tuesday, March 10th. Absolutely incredible that another month and year have already begun rolling by too quickly. How are you doing this morning, Stacey?
I am doing well. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on today. Pleasure to be here as well.
You are welcome. No need to thank me. And so, what's really interesting is one, it's a pleasure to get to speak with you. You obviously are very um, unique with respect to who you are and what you do. That is what I'm going to allow you to explain most of. But when it comes to luxury travel, and there's been a significant acceleration, in my opinion, as it pertains to this, since, of course, COVID and the that little bug that went around as with respect to privacy and also travel, because travel became different. Travel became not so much about how many trips do we take this year, or not even simply where, but it's more about the experience. And then part of that overall experience, forgive me if I'm wrong, is especially in the affluent or luxury world, if you will, is privacy. Correct?
Yes, privacy is very important, especially to different clientele and what they're looking for when they travel. And I'd like to also mention, along with Magnifica Resort Residences in our hospitality, we do have an airline, Magnifica Air, that is launching.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yes. And so that will really help as well in the travel experience because that will kind of meet a need that a lot of people are feeling the pressure from because travel has changed. Like you said, it has changed in so many different ways that maybe we didn't even realize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it continues to evolve at an accelerated pace each and every day and each and every moment, especially in the society in which we now live, which, I mean, the society we live in now versus when COVID first hit the scene in, in March of 2020, completely different society, like night and day, not even remotely close, not even
Completely.
remotely close, whether you want to look at travel or just society in general. And then you look at societal, the way that society continues to morph, if you will, and adapt and change within itself, and then people adapting within that, whether it's luxury real estate or luxury travel, or and how exciting, interesting for you to be segueing into and innovating into the private air travel. I mean
Yeah.
that's drastically changed significantly since say 2020. To use that as kind of a baseline point,
It
and
has. You had a lot of travelers who no longer wanted to travel. They didn't want to take commercial airline for whatever reason, but for a lot of reasons, they didn't want to be around all that mass transportation. And so you saw private aviation go up, but then it couldn't be sustained because it's very expensive to
yeah,
be able to do. So a lot of people were able to do it for a short time, but they couldn't sustain it. So our airline is going to offer a private class experience, and we're going to sit right in between that commercial airline first class experience and then private travel. We'll have just over 50 seats per aircraft, but be able to provide an experience that's much more calm and that feeling of privacy that people are looking for while not having to pay out for renting the whole plane yourself, chartering
so
it.
to give it a visual, so to speak, for myself and for those listening in general, is so when you look at the playing field, so to speak, right? So you have your obviously you have your simply private owned jets, right? It's like a private owned yacht, and then you have your fractional air share ownerships. You have your air shares of the world, your Magellan, et cetera. So where exactly do you, in a comparative manner, would you place yourself on that playing field?
So we're operating as a commercial airline. We will have scheduled flights.
Okay.
However, we're using Airbus 321s,
Oh,
which are large
oh,
aircraft.
Wow.
And with only 50 seats, we're going to have a bar on board, a lounge experience. Our flight attendants will be sommelier certified. So we can really bring in that private experience. Our planes are going to be outfitted in interiors like a private jet.
Wow. There, this is fantastic. Domestic and international, or just domestic to start?
So we're starting domestic, yes. South Florida, New York, California, Texas, Chicago. And the hope is to go international. There's a lot of feedback that everybody's already asking, but we're going to lock it down domestically first.
And you're going to hit the ski resorts as well, correct? The Aspens, the Vales, the Jackson.
Absolutely. Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Yes. And
And,
then we'll offer
and
excursion
obviously that.
trips as well to a lot of our members. So when we see interest in a particular destination, we'll offer some special trips out to our members.
And so is this going to be standalone and unto its own, or is this going to also, are you going to weave it into and as much as possible directly tie it into, and this is our opportunity to segue into the other aspects of Magnifica, into the other aspects of the business?
Yes, so we will have resort residences, live, work, play buildings at every location of one of our terminals for Magnifica Air. So that so if you're a member and you have a residence, you can travel to any of our other locations seamlessly, as much as I don't like that word.
Well, most people love that word if it's actually true.
Yes.
And
I
so,
think it's overused. I think we could find a better word.
well, again, going back to the society in which we live, there's so many words that are overused. The word luxury is overused.
The word luxury is overused.
The word luxury is overused at Macy's at this point. No offense to Macy's, but at the same time, it is. It's an overused. It really is. I could say to someone, they could say, "How was your walk this morning?" It was another perfect walk. Had it just before I spoke to this amazing, profound woman, Stacey of Magnifica. I was wearing my luxury Vans off the wall shoes, and it would be applicable to call my Van shoes luxury. It's very overused. You're right. Seamless is as well. Seamless. I think also again compliments and congratulations on segueing into that aspect of the business. It's a very ambitious one, and I think it gives the consumer, and the consumer, obviously your consumer, your target consumer, is has a significant set of standards that are very elevated. Not
Yes.
to use that term in the name of my magazines, which is also now a little too overused. But but I think it will overall, in my opinion, it will lift your entire business with respect to it. It gives you that, it's like putting another notch on the belt, so to speak, because I think it's much more difficult to segue into that aspect of the business and be successful at it and know what you're doing. Right. And you touched upon that because during COVID and whatnot, so many go into that part of the business and the smallest percentage remain.
Right. Exactly.
And so, with respect to, is that going to be your primary? Explain Magnifica a little more to I know what it is, I understand it, but explain it more to someone is just listening right now. Explain it.
Yes. So Magnifica is a bit of a love project that my husband, Charles Carey, and I started. And it was due to our own personal travels in staying at different five-star resorts around the world and our experience and noting different things and saying, there's a particular brand that we frequent. And we said we could do this better. Like we can see where the holes are and what clients want and what expectations are. And then we can meet those needs and excel in that area. And so we just kind of started this hospitality brand so that we can provide service at a standard that is being missed. And the big part of that is in being known. That is our whole mission, is for our staff and along with our clients to be known. Because a lot of times in these different circles, the clientele is focused on what are your needs? How can we meet your needs? How can we make your stay the best that it is? But then internally with the staff, it's all just you focus on the client, you focus on the client. And there isn't a lot of top down, manager to staff knowing each other and really caring and servicing one another. So we want to start from that foundation of knowing our own internal staff and them feeling known. Wellness is really important to us. Our flagship resort here will have almost 100,000 square feet for spa and wellness. And we know that that's super important in life in general to be proactive in your health and in wellness, preventative healthcare. But we're going to also offer that in a smaller circuit spa for our own staff. So our own staff have a place where they can go and they can spend time before shift or after shift or in their off time to take care of themselves.
Understood. And so it's providing an overall elevated experience, if you will, curated experience. It ultimately will play out that way by your staff being that much more empowered, known, and cared for themselves. Quite right.
Yes, if our staff is known and if they feel loved and cared for, then that's going to be so easy for them to just do that to our guests. It's going to naturally overflow out of a place of being cared for themselves. And so then we'll be able to pass that on because they understand what it feels like themselves to be known. So then they'll be able to pass that on to our guests so that our guests feel known. Because I will tell you, when you travel, and if you travel with a particular brand that you love, you can end up at a new location and you're just like a new face that they've never seen and they've never met before.
Right.
But within Magnifica, with our whole philosophy of being known, we want you to travel to any location and feel like you already belong.
Right.
Because that, I think, is true luxury of not having to explain yourself over and over, once to the valet, can I get your name? And then another time to the front desk, oh, who are you checking in under? If they already know you, if they're already anticipating your arrival, it's one extra layer of calm and release that you can truly relax.
Absolutely. They should feel as though they own the place.
Yes. Yes. Even if it's your first time visiting.
That's absolutely correct. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. And I do believe that there are many groups that strive for that, yet they fall incredibly short. And if they didn't, then you would, then Magnifica would not, it would be in a much different competitive field. And the fact that you have that opportunity to do what you're doing shows that it is incredibly lacking. And I think it will continue to become more and more lacking, giving you that continued competitive advantage, because that's just the way that society is going with respect to it's just too oversaturated with stimuli and it's just too much. And so to pull back the reins on that and approach it the way that you're approaching, Magnifica's approaching it, and then further include the icing on the cake, which is this absolutely fantastic private air experience that you've touched upon. When are you planning on rolling that out?
So our first flight should be 2027. We're quickly approaching. We're in certification phases right now, and it's an airline, so it just takes the time that it takes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
one point of what you were saying, I wanted to just touch back on how you said that things are evolving, and it's like it's becoming a market of consumption and more and more. And if we look at commercial airlines, it's the cheapest flight you can get, right? People are looking for the cheapest flight and just packing these flights, and then locations are like, how much more can we do? I really think our specific clientele is looking for less.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're looking for more meaningful, more personalized, and places where they feel safe.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. It's and that again correlates with respect to which came out of, as the cliche saying goes, the silver linings that came out of COVID. And one of those is the fact that people do approach travel differently in a very significant way. And part of that is, as we briefly touched upon, the fact that it's not about how many trips or or just even the where, but it's about the overall experience. And part of that experience is significantly everything that you are explaining Magnifica is, which is being known, being catered to, having privacy, which is also a cornerstone of Magnifica. And each of those is so very, very important. And it's the antithesis of the way that most travel is going.
Mm.
And is and simply exists. As you said, with respect to commercial, I mean, the thought of getting on a commercial airline to a certain extent, it almost makes your skin crawl, right?
Yes, a lot of our clientele simply just choose not to fly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They'll forego a trip because they don't want to have to.
Yeah. Even if you do have it, and let's say you do have your first class ticket and whatnot, it's still just the overall experience of the airport in itself, you know.
Yes,
No,
and what
I'm not trying to
first class
sound,
even mean these days?
and I'm not in no way am I in any way attempting to come off as elitist or anything like that. It's just a fact. It's just there. It's just
Yes.
so much, and it's not. It's just the dynamics of the society in which we live, and it
Yeah,
was
commercial
not going
airline
anywhere.
lounges have wait lists for people to
I'm
get into. The lounges at airports
Yeah, absolutely.
honoring wait lists. You go and you want to go and oh, you had to get to the airport 2 hours before your flight. I'll go to the lounge. You're denied.
Yeah. Yeah, right. No, exactly. Exactly. So it doesn't even exist, quite frankly. You know, it really doesn't, unless you're going to live at the airport. So that to take advantage of, and then that further dilutes the overall essence of what it is that you're doing. And so how is 2026, now that we're just about a quarter of the way through, 25% of the way through, how is 2026 playing out for you and those that surround you and your counterpart, your husband at Magnifica?
Yes, I would say 2026 is flying by. I cannot believe that it is March already. But here we are, and everything is going along well. All the steps are in. There was a little bit of a delay when there was some of the FAA. They stopped working for a while. So there was small little delays, but nothing major. Everything is going along in line with what we're looking for the airline and for the resorts and residences. So we have a very fast moving, productive year ahead. And we're going to be a lot of different places and activating in different arenas.
And so is your plan for everything to activate simultaneously or?
The goal would be as close as possible for our Florida launch.
Okay.
Then as the flights are in different destinations and those terminals are set up, the resorts and residences will come right behind them.
Understood. And so when are you going to begin giving people the opportunity to, and it's an opportunity for you to, again, somewhat of a sales pitch, but when are you going to begin engaging with your potential clientele so as to begin purchasing? How are you going to do it? Membership based, or how are you going to do it?
Yes, so our air team has already started taking on new members, and that's very exciting for them because with the way that flight hours work and ticketing and how that is all calculated, they're offering a lock-in rate now that won't change. So once we are launched, as you can see, gas prices are going up right now. The price that's put in today, that's what they'll be able to receive once we're actually fully launched, whether that number goes up double or whatever, wherever we're at when we're fully launched. So those memberships are available currently right now. And then from there, we will offer a membership opportunity for Magnifica Resorts and Residences. We have some special club members programs that we're excited to be offering, different full concierge services, events, the hard to get things that people want in a club membership we'll be offering. So all of our air clients will be able to have the first in with our founding members club with Magnifica Resorts and Residences.
Fantastic. Very exciting.
Mm.
Very exciting. And what is it that what is it that led you to, you mentioned Florida, South Florida. What is it that led you to that as the initial focal point?
Well, Magnifica Resort and Residence is a place personally we want to live. So there was a lot of investment. That's where we're located. We want to live at the property ourselves, right? We are the founding members. This
Right.
isn't something we're just building and selling off. And that's a key difference in what we're doing here is the personal touch on everything that I'm involved in. So
Mhm.
I do everything in design from a resort, residences, spa spaces to the interiors of the planes.
Mhm.
And obviously our lounges and terminals, because we will have our own private terminals and lounges and our own separate TSA. So all
Really?
of those things are headaches of the airport, we're able to seamlessly, to use that word again, circumvent for all of our clients. So the why South Florida is because we're here.
Okay.
And then the why New York, because that's the number one to and from currently right now in South Florida. And
Right.
then obviously people want to be going to LA, people want to go to San Jose, people want to go to Houston, people want to go to Dallas, people want to go to Chicago. So those were our next most hits.
And do you have a rollout plan for each of those markets?
We sure do. I am definitely the wrong person to ask about that. I am not in sales and I am not in the marketing, but I like to talk about the beautiful things. So
And
yes,
since
but
you're going to,
they do.
I know you mentioned domestically focused first. That being said, a side question, since you are rolling out in South Florida, are you going to have a footprint since it is a go-to and just a pebbles throw away into any parts of the Caribbean?
Yes. So that is something that along with kind of the ski towns is something that we know our clients want. And so that will be a membership model to begin with, where we'll say X flight is going out, what's the interest level from our members, and then we'll fly there for our members to those specific destinations. And then as those are established and we see that there's more outside of just from our members, those flights then will have those specific. So we can fly charter and commercial.
Fantastic. And then for as far as not to overly too specific because it's not necessarily your department, but South Florida, is that like Miami, Palm Beach, Miami Beach?
Is it what Opelika, Fort Lauderdale?
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right. That pigeonholes it more.
Yes.
Okay, that's so incredible. And so you're looking at the beginning of 2027, which will be here before you know it. And what is it that being at this moment in time, this exciting moment in time for you and those around you, what is it that the upcoming months look like for you?
The upcoming months currently right now, air is getting a lot of attention just because of the nature of the speed at which they need to have things done for FAA reasons and
Yeah,
certification. So we do have some upcoming events. We'll be hosting a villa at F1 in Miami in May.
very nice.
Yes. We will also be at an event closer to us, the Sun and Fun in Lakeland, which is coming up in April. So, and then there are some other just different activations. The Magnifica Air Team has a tour bus. So that will be touring in some of our destinations and going around and being able to take some mobile meetings.
Are you going to thought just crossed my mind with respect to everything you were just mentioning, and then also because of what you're doing with the in general and with air travel is, are you going to venture into in any capacity the yacht side of things?
Without saying too much, that is definitely something that we
The
will be
big
on
smile on your face just said it all.
our members, we would like to be able to offer some of those things. Charter yacht services to special destinations and locations managed and maintained by Magnifica Hospitality so that they know the service that they receive will be consistent.
So you're going to buy your own fleet of yachts, or you're going to?
Who knows what the future holds?
Okay. All right. Okay. That would be absolutely incredible. And
Yeah. We know what our clientele likes. We know how they like to travel, how they like to vacation, where they like to spend their times. And we want to be everywhere that they want to be. We want to be able to meet all of their needs.
and yachts is one of those places.
Yachts is one of those places.
It
Yes.
is. That's
Small little hideaways on the side of an island where, they can be private and not known.
absolutely. You just made me think of, for a number of reasons, and take this as a huge compliment. A very dear friend of mine, he actually just retired, which is in that place you'll be at some point after you've started this incredible business, this idea, concept. And his business is still flourishing. And it's something that perhaps you guys will want to look into speaking to them because it's a seamless fit. It's called Tropic Ocean Airways. And his name is Rob Saravalo. The website is flytropic.com. And you just touched upon it, is our clientele on the side of a private island somewhere, et cetera. And I tell the story just simply because you remind me of him. And so it's a compliment. Is he was leaving the Navy. He was a fighter pilot, like say that he was a Tom Cruise in his own world. And he was part of Top Gun. And then he had this vision to start a seaplane company, right? And it ended up becoming the largest seaplane company on the planet. And and so it does those types of things. And it's someone you should consider speaking with, especially in that world. And their footprint is the Caribbean, which is
Okay, great.
places that you want to segue into. And they also work with yacht charters and whatnot. So what you're doing is absolutely sensational, spectacular. It's inspiring. And I am so very humble and grateful to have been able to have the time to speak with you. I hope that we're able to do this again. Is there anything, since I now have already, speaking of time moving too quickly, is there anything that I did not ask you that I should have, Stacey Carey of Magnifica? Or is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to?
Um, Honestly, I feel like where we went all kind of worked together. So that was a one direction in itself. So I think that had a really nice flow.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. You're very well spoken, by the way.
Thank
Stacey
you.
Carey, co-founder of Magnifica, just like it sounds, Magnifica.com. Thank you again so very much for your time. Pleasure to speak with you and with everyone. Sienna, I will never forget your name because Dave Severino's daughter's name is Sienna. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I look forward to seeing everything that plays out in such an exceptional way with Magnifica. Have a great rest
Yes,
of the day.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Judd.
Thank you.